And it's Tuesday, April 14th. This is the Bellas Falls Village Trustees regular meeting with a short joint meeting with the select board. I call the board meeting to order. We are here in the public safety building on the 3rd floor, and the rest of you are visiting by Zoom. Additions to the agenda for routine administrative matters and/or pressing matters that require ratification at future meeting.
Madam President, I have 2 suggestions. Manager's report was inadvertently left off. I just have a very short report.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you and I have talked about the executive session. First one being to discuss labor relations, right? So
yeah, we will do that. Okay, so your manager's report come right after public comment.
Correct.
All right, let's approve the meeting minutes from March 24th, 2020.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
And seconded. Okay, so Kathleen, you can see us, so you know who moved and seconded, right? Just so you know. Kathleen? Oh, she's muted. Okay.
Yeah,
So Gary made the motion to approve the minutes. I'm sorry.
Yes, I got it.
Second, second. Okay, just want to be sure. All right, so any discussion on the minutes? Hearing nothing, all those in favor signify by saying aye. It's unanimous. We don't have to call in.
Aye.
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 Okay, and Jonathan is not here, so, right, that's unanimous.
Is it possible to use that phone number?
Possible what?
Use that phone number down at the bottom?
At the bottom, that, I don't know if that's Jonathan or not. Might be.
I'm here.
And is that you, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm having a computer problem that decided to update. I'll be online in a second, so I called in.
Okay, that's fine. So we move the minutes. Public comment on items not on the agenda, 3 minutes per person. Does anyone wish to comment? It's like hearing nothing. We'll move on to the manager's report.
Okay, which is very brief. Can you hear me okay? Folks in TV land? Just a couple of things. We're updating the website as a primary source of information on when our services change. So far, the pattern we've been in the last couple of months is continuing to maintain. So the recycling center is open. We are maintaining 6-foot distances, so don't plan for it to be a quick trip. And please don't bring things that go in the building. Don't bring specialized things like light bulbs and furniture. Just bring regular household garbage and trash at this time, please, and recyclables. And then just want to encourage everyone to support the businesses. A lot of them are doing, the restaurants are doing takeout. Other businesses are trying to stay in business. So also on our website, there is a list of businesses and what they're doing. If you are a business and you want to be on the list, let me know. And Gary Fox, who is here, can provide personalized assistance to businesses who need help finding out resources during COVID. So that's all I have. Great. Oh, there it is. He's in disguise.
Okay. All right, hearing nothing further, we will go, we need a motion to go in executive session with the select board first. There'll be actually 2. They'll both be, should be brief. The first one to go into executive session with the select board to discuss a labor matter, which would be, what was that? Number 8. What's that? We have 2 motions for that, and both boards have to do it, but now I have the motion stuff here.
What are they for?
For the labor, for the first one for the labor relations, and the second will come out with the back end. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to enter into the executive session to discuss a labor matter where previous general knowledge may clearly place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage, and to invite into that session the municipal manager,
the finance director, Rena Succo,
Attorney Masuko.
anyone else? Is that it? Okay. All right, need a second? All right.
Is that select board?
No, this is not second. Second. Okay. Any discussion on that? All right. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, second motion.
Yeah, but I didn't get who seconded that.
With that, oh, who seconded that?
I did.
Gary did.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I move to enter an executive session to discuss labor relations on the provisions of Title I, Section 3, Vermont statutes, and invite into that session municipal manager, finance director, and the attorney.
Give me a second.
Second.
No. Second it? Second. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Jonathan? I can't hear him.
Jonathan, you're muted.
Well, so.
Did you adjust the agenda?
Okay, so the agenda is going to include two brief executive sessions, with labor relations first, then the other matter that we already have. So, now, if I can have, yep, you need to do this one. Somebody needs to, I guess you're gonna make it, you're here. It's number 8, and you need to do both motions for your board. Awkward. Jonathan, did you say aye, but I didn't hear you say aye?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Okay,
I
so
move
now it's yours. Like,
find that premature general public knowledge of labor relations agreements with employees, feel place municipality at a substantial disadvantage.
and invite in manager, finance, and attorney.
And you invite in the municipal manager, village attorney, and the finance manager.
Now you need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, so now you can call your vote.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Now the second motion, you vote. Down the bottom of that?
Same labor relations.
Yes, same
Right.
regulation, yep.
I move that the board enter executive session to discuss labor relations under provision of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes, and invite municipal manager, finance manager, village attorney.
Second for that?
Seconded.
I can move it.
Motion been made and seconded, enter executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Hold on a second.
How are we?
So,
doing?
Susan,
Yeah.
you want to call my cell phone?
Yeah, let me just make sure I have the number. I had Ben's number the last time.
Susan and Ben are gonna call my phone.
You gotta call mine.
Peter's calling Deb's. John Wright needs to call somebody.
Who do you want me to call, Deb or Stefan?
How many calls can I put on this?
Stefan,
John Wright's gonna call you, but you put him on speaker.
Oh, good luck, because that,
I don't have your email in my phone. Gaetano.
call Wendy.
Hmm?
Can you call Wendy's cell?
Yeah, I can call hers.
Jonathan's calling mine.
Hey, Peter, I got you.
I mean, my number's on the website. I'll say it.
Yeah, I just don't have it right this second.
Yeah, I got 2.
Stefan, answer your phone.
Oh, that's not ringing yet.
Just went to voicemail.
Uh,
7523.
Negative.
Hello?
You're here, right?
Ready to copy?
Shannon.
Yep.
So Shannon,
802.
you can put the rest of the people in out.
591.
Right?
Yep.
1145.
All the people who go away.
Shannon's muted.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you could actually do
Okay.
it through Zoom instead.
Are you there, John?
If you wanted to.
Turn the volume down.
I would ask for a motion on the trustee side to,
Wait.
What?
Can't hear it.
okay, you can hear it. To
Shouldn't be part of the
authorize,
Shouldn't be part of that.
he shouldn't be part of the motion.
Oh.
Authorize the attorney.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we authorize the attorney
Just-
and the village president to sign on behalf of the board of trustees the understanding reference to labor relations agreement.
Okay, need a second for that.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous, okay. Judge Hunt.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that to authorize the chairman of the select board and the attorney Masuko to sign the labor relations agreement on behalf of the town of Rockingham.
Designate.
Designates.
I did.
Oh.
Chairman of the select board and
Need a second?
Second.
Seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Peter's muted.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm back on, I vote aye.
Peter votes aye. And sure.
Susan, are you voting aye?
She did.
Okay,
Yeah, I said aye. Yeah.
with that,
Aye.
there you go. So you good?
Motion passes.
Okay, so there's going to be one more executive session. As we were planning an executive session on, to discuss disciplinary dismissal action against a public officer or employee. And as of 3/13 today, that has changed. And it's changed briefly, but we will still have a brief executive session on the matter. That would be number 11, if you would be so kind. So do 2, this is the trustees, and then I'll give.
still have to do 2 and look at number 11.
Yeah,
You invite anybody into this?
and for that we would invite no one in.
Okay. I'll make the motion to enter into an executive session to discuss pending and probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party, and where premature general knowledge may clearly place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage.
Need a second? Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jonathan?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, second.
Okay.
So I'm leaving, right?
Right.
I move that the board enter into executive session to discuss pending and probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body may be a party under the provisions of Title I, Section 313 of the Vermont statutes.
Need a second? Second. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now, if I may, give that to that town, it's number 11.
Yep.
Oh, Steph, yeah, right.
Okay.
Steph gets to do it all
For
with
the Rockingham Select Board, I move to enter into an executive session to discuss pending or probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party, and where premature general knowledge may clearly place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage.
Need a second?
it. That second.
Ben seconded.
Yep.
Motion been made and seconded and enter executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Your meeting.
Okay, I'll make the motion that the board enter into an executive session to discuss pending or probable civil litigation or a prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party under provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont state statutes.
Need a second? Second. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Peter?
He's muted.
Oh, here he is.
He's here.
Okay.
So I think Sue was on Wendy's cell phone.
Yeah. Gaetano, I'll call you.
Okay. I can merge you in.
All right.
Huh?
back. Shannon, you there?
Did you mean to unmute yourself?
I did mean to unmute myself. How come we don't have to mute that?
She's got it.
That's fine now.
Turn our camera on, Shannon, invite us. There you go.
There.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we good again? I'm gonna readjust this because you guys are looking at the sky.
Oh, I turned it all the way down.
How's that? Is that better?
Not really. I can see everyone.
Hold
Oh,
on.
no, that's not, yeah. I think that was a joke. That was a joke, I think it was, yeah. Yeah, I'm not there, we can see everybody.
Very, very small.
Hello?
Unmute your speaker or?
You guys hear us?
Yep.
Can you hear us, Susan? She's not speaking, so.
Loud and clear.
Can you, Deb, can you have Gary just,
She's
can you have
not
Gary
looking.
move over slightly? He's right behind you. We can't see him, so if you can just
It's on
a little bit.
Oh, okay, we're fixing it.
He's on it. Not the TV speaker, right? Oh, the computer speaker? Volume? Volume up, down?
Oh, right here, someone.
Yep.
Oh, there we
How's
go.
that?
I can hear you. I can see you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back on, and out of executive session, that was at 7:40, 6:42, definitely. Took a few minutes. So I entertain a motion to accept the resignation effective 5:15. Stephanie being all officer.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of the village manager
Effective
effective
5:15, 2020.
5/15/2020.
Need a second?
Second that.
Okay. All right, so it's moved and seconded to accept the resignation of the municipal manager effective 5/15/2020. This is for the village. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, it's been passed. So the town, you're,
Select board needs a motion.
Make the motion that the Rockingham Select Board accept the resignation of the municipal manager effective 5/15/2020.
Second.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Where's Ben?
He was having a hard time connecting and then we hung up, so.
He's on board.
So motion been made and seconded, all in favor, Peter's muted. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Bye.
Peter, you're on mute. Okay.
Peter?
The host unmuted me. So I'll-
Oh, remuted.
We couldn't hear anything he said, you're still muted.
There we go.
There it goes.
You're on now.
I voted aye.
All right, done. All right, thank you, select board, for your time and patience, and we can move on with the trustee meeting now. First item on our agenda is the USDA grant application for repair of the public safety building Lula in the amount of $30,000 with a $10,000 match.
Yeah, do you want me to give an overview? Gary Fox is here to discuss this. It was kind of a last minute item, sorry about that, but Gary worked with Chief McGinnis to find funding for a few projects at this building. They're proposing the village apply for a 75% matching grant with USDA to repair the Lula. Working Lula would allow public access to this room. Which is currently not used because it's not ADA accessible. We hope that a $40,000 total expenditure would be sufficient, so that's a $30,000 grant and a $10,000 available in the building budget. Jerry's here and the fire chief is here also.
Sorry. That's it. Oh,
So there is $10,000 that can be used in building repairs in the regular operating budget for the fire department in the 2021 budget. Although Chief McGinnis has an article request for $12,500 towards this repair. There is a village immediate. 20,000.
20,000.
Which is for this repair and other items.
Yes.
Okay.
And the little list is operating. There's electrical issues, operations of some safety gates, it failed inspections in 2013, and has been closed since, just based on passing the safety inspections.
It's a public safety building. It seems ridiculous that that elevator doesn't work. I mean, that the past inspection. So you have submitted, or you're getting ready to submit?
So the grant is due on Friday, 3 o'clock. And we would need a motion from the trustees tonight approving approving applying and authorizing the manager to sign all documents.
There's a sample motion in your packet. Oh, okay. In your packet, there's a memo from Gary that has a sample motion at the bottom.
Okay, here. Okay, discussion by the trustees on the grant moving forward.
So what's going to be the requirement from the village in total? to complete this
$10,000
repair?
for this.
So we'll clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, there are a couple of things that need to be done. In the front of the building, and we discussed this at a budget meeting, earlier in March. The front of the building, the doors and the entryways on both the fire department, police department side are rusted pretty bad, as well as the I-beams out front. So what we're looking for is, a $20,000, similar to what we did last year, an article for $20,000 for repairs for the building. We were going to use the money for that, hopefully to repair the elevator. If not, then we're going to go to the front of the building. We're unsure exactly how much the elevator is going to cost. We were told that it didn't work, but after digging around a little bit, we found out that it failed some safety inspection. It does appear that they had some trouble finding someone to do the repairs. I don't know if that was just a matter of not having the money in the budget at the time. So we've actually started to research this all over. So we're hoping that the USDA grant will cover the repairs for a new cart. But we're hoping that it will be the repairs that would save us some money and would allow us to do the elevator and hopefully.
For building.
Yes. So that's, but what Gary needed was something that was a little more solid than the article. So I told him that we could, without any other repairs that we do in general here throughout the year, say $10,000 out of the general. I felt comfortable setting that money aside. I would really like it if the voters approved the $20,000 at the
The USDA needs to see that the funds are committed, so showing the
Of course.
normal budget.
Right. And when do you think we would hear if what we want to know now? How many months away?
June. June funds available, July potentially.
And have to be used within how many months?
So that we have a year to accomplish the project. So June 30th, 2021.
All right, discussion by trustees. Any discussion on that? James, Jonathan?
I'll make the motion if you want.
Go ahead.
A move to approve filing the USDA Community Facilities Grant application for $30,000 as presented, including $10,000 matching funds from the village budget for fire department building, and authorize the municipal manager to execute the application and grant documents.
I'll second that.
And we have a second from Gary. Okay, any further discussion on the matter? Second, Gary? No. Jonathan? James?
No.
Okay, all right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 You know what you did. All right. Well, you. See you guys. Didn't know it was still right. Number 2, Green Mountain Power Pole relocation. I heard you had this discussion with the select board last week.
Yes, they have poles also. Green Mountain Power is replacing the poles, along Route 5, Rockingham Road. And one of the poles that needs to be relocated is, on the property that is owned by the village in front of this building. The pole is supposed to be moved about 3 to 4 feet to the north. Sean just left, but he's aware of it and is fine with it. The new pole will be wood, the lines will be raised about 5 feet, and it's important for reliability. And it's actually particularly important now because this serves the industrial park to the south, among other customers, and they're having increased demand for COVID materials. I don't know if you saw the article about chroma. Yep, they're having to work extra shifts and extra hard to keep up with the demand because their filters are used in testing. So this is really important to get done.
Okay, what's the reference you referred to, the industrial park to the south, what's that all about? North.
North.
Oh,
North.
did I say south? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Okay. Sorry, she said industrial park.
Well, I kind of figured half and half, I want to
Yeah, but it serves all the customers in between too, which would include us.
Is, Deb, is there any issue with the location of the new pole?
Oh, where will be located?
So is it okay? I mean, no, not a problem where it's going to be located.
I'm assuming not.
Right, yes, there's no problem. I checked with Sean, there's no problem. The only one thing that has to be determined is who will take care of changing the signal. There's Sean, he wants to add the signal.
Yeah, so the flashing red lights.
Yep.
On either end, I don't know if we're responsible, but we can figure that out. That's the only, that there's one of those on one of the poles that is, to be changed out.
Yeah.
So, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
We ready? I'll make a
Yeah,
motion.
go ahead, make
I
a
have a
motion.
question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go Tom.
So what was the one we approved the other night by the permit? And how is it different? And then all these other ones that are flagged, are they not also getting?
They are, yes,
And then just lastly, I would request that they remove the old one, like, don't leave it for, like with select board.
Well, is there other stuff on it? Is consolidated on there?
I believe so. That was one
And
of the
they have to,
questions.
they have to move their way.
That's my question.
Yeah.
well, I can answer the last one first. The select board did add a provision to have the poles removed within a year, and that provision is in this motion. So that's consistent. The other poles, the one at the current, very similar, has to be moved, but it's not in their easement. The other poles must be in their easement, so they're not asking for permission. But all of these poles are going to be replaced.
Post-COVID.
Yeah, but also as soon as possible. They've been wanting to do this for months.
Oh, I know.
And they had issues before COVID, so it's really important to get done.
All right, you want to make a motion?
Yeah.
You can see the talk after that.
I move to approve the request of Green Mountain Power to relocate the poles as requested with the condition to remove the old poles within 1 year and authorize the president to sign the document.
Need a second.
second.
Okay, any further discussion on this item? James, Jonathan?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next item on the agenda, is that in here? When?
Yes, it is, and please do sign it.
Yeah. Next item, Yeah, I've been correct. Next item on the agenda, these are done as many people as we have. Is the discussion of the canine officer.
Yeah, the human person of the canine officer is here, Sergeant Mario Checchio. I don't think a lot of you have met. So I think it's really good that he is here. I appreciate it. He's here to answer questions. Staff is supportive of continuing to keep the canine capability. There have been a number of drug arrests that have been because of canine, and then canine's also helpful in search. And if you want to, either one of you.
Well, there have been searches for these small Alzheimer's patients that I was dealing with, were coming out and doing track on both of them.
Hey, Deb,
Jonathan, yes?
whoever's talking is completely inaudible.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Already got.
Or do you want to sit over here?
See if I can see if I can pick up better.
I know of at least 2 occasions where we did a track on an Alzheimer's patient. One of the nights was a cold night, and they were out dressed not in warm weather clothing. He has done other searches and tracks, notably the one that led into Rockingham from an assault case that happened here after Westminster, and then another issue up in Rockingham. We have received, he has seized, and I don't have the list in front of me, but numerous amounts of drugs, money. He's not a budget issue. He's not a line item in the budget. We have donations that pay for the veterinary care, for his feed, for his well-being for the dogs. So it's not an issue that he is paid, that the village is paying for the dog. And there's still money in the fund that has been donated to keep the dog.
Deb,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to further this discussion. I'd like to move that we eliminate the canine service effective immediately. And I'd like to speak to it as well, but I'll wait for.
I need a second to that first. Anyone wish to second that for discussion?
I'll second it.
Okay, Diggs.
Okay, the reason for for my motion is that in our prospective budget, we're changing the size of the police department, and obviously the canine. I've never had an issue with the canine per se, but I think the part that we see budget-wise is the monthly overtime hours that go into maintaining compliance, I guess, with the state, that the canine's handler officer or sergeant has to perform. There's also various trainings, et cetera. And I think that the village of Bells Falls just cannot afford to provide canine services to the surrounding area and commit the officer and the vehicle to this commitment. It's just too big a commitment on the part of the 3,000 people that live in Bellows Falls. And as I said, it's being done in anticipation of a budget that is going to be reduced in terms of the manpower. So again, kudos to the dog, but Bellows Falls, in my opinion, cannot afford this luxury.
Anyone else want to speak to that?
I mean, the large expense that we paid for the dog was at the front end, where the trainer and the dog had to go to the academy for several months to learn the detection school, to the traction school, all of which he's done. That's where the village spent most funds. The training, yes, there is training for recertification of the dog, but Sergeant Checky also has to take 30 hours of training a year, as all police officers do, to maintain their certification. His time with the canine is included in that 30 hours. So to say you eliminate the canine and that will cut down the overtime for training, you still have the 30 hours that you have to pay in overtime for Officer Checky, whether he has a dog or not. So that kind of makes the argument moot about the training that is costing money for that.
Chief, we see in our monthly statements, every single month, we see overtime on the sergeant's part for canine care. So that's the budget item. But again, this is getting ready for a bit smaller department and providing the resources that the village of Bellows Falls finds critical.
I know that there is a federal mandate for a dog handler to get half an hour a day when they're off duty. Sergeant Checky does get an hour and a half a week for canine care when he is off duty. That's the amount that's going to take between now and June. I think that is not a good use of the village's money to say that we're saving an hour and a half a week for the next 6 weeks until the new budget year starts.
Is there any other board member that has something else to say concerning this matter? Jonathan?
Yeah, Deb, the chief spoke of an account for the canine care. What account number is that? Shannon?
Shannon?
I've never seen.
Those are donations that the chief is speaking of, but I would refer back to him in regards to the food is all donated, the vet bills are paid for, things like that don't necessarily hit the financials. Is that accurate, Chief?
That's my understanding, yes. There is and Sergeant Check could probably answer it, but I believe there's about $3,000 that have been donated from clubs in the village, from individuals that the village has control of to pay for when the dog has to go to the vet.
Can I speak? Where's the accounting for that money and where's the accounting for the expense?
Sounds like it's off the books.
I'm not sure. I would ask Mario to speak to that.
So our former chief had set up the account for the village to essentially deposit the money that is granted to us by different groups in the community for his donation, which ultimately goes to his vet bills and some equipment. The majority of his equipment I've purchased with my own money. You know, obviously we've talked about training, as the chief has said, that the training ultimately comes out of the regular training budget. I'm required to do 30 hours just like any other officer in the state of Vermont. Just because it's labeled as K-9 as opposed to, you know, firearms or domestic violence, you still have to do that training. But I do want to take this time to thank the people of this community that have donated money, as well as Paul from Money Laws has donated Caesar's food along the way, which was extremely helpful. Just the outpouring of the community that came out to support the K-9 program and have supported the K-9 program all along has been unbelievable. The Women's Club here in Bells Falls, Joy Wa, amongst others, Rotary, have all donated and yearly donated and have continued to donate money for Caesar's expensive fund, as well as the gym downtown did a spin class to support Caesar in purchasing an item for his cruiser. So we've tried to take the burden off of the taxpayers and out of the budget and to support the program. I can't say enough about the benefits of having the K-9 here. People have to understand the logistics of, you know, drug interdiction and things like that. I know that's always been a topic here, but you have to understand that there is case law that prohibits us from, on a traffic stop, waiting for a K-9 to come down. So essentially, looking for another agency to support us with a K-9 is not going to be feasible. We are very lucky to have that here and to have it not funded necessarily out of the budget but funded by donations. You just don't really see that with other agencies. I mean, you know, state police and other agencies like that are all funded out of the budget. We are supported by the community, and I think that's amazing. Caesar has, obviously, as the chief said, done an amazing job. You know, him and I ourselves have seized over 10,000 bags of heroin since he started, and that's saved countless amounts of lives in this community. Just having the dog as a part of the department is a deterrent on its own. People, folks, you know, that are involved in this type of behavior know that Bellows Falls has a K-9 and will not come to this community to do their, you know, nefarious deeds just because of the fact that there is a K-9. Does it go on? Certainly, as it goes on in many communities, but I think just to have him here is a deterrent. And you can't forget the fact that we have helped numerous departments on a weekly basis in the area with K-9 services, to include Brattleboro PD, Vermont State Police, Walpole Police Department on a regular basis. And I'm willing to bet that if you spoke with chiefs in those departments, they would support us to continue to have that program. So ultimately, the cost really isn't anything. The hour and a half is a federal mandate under the Garcia law. I think it's U.S. versus Garcia, that handlers are paid a half an hour stipend of overtime on their days off to care for the dog. So for that being very minimal, I mean, talk about saving money. I mean, you can't split a penny that many times.
Can I ask when we're going to get to the accounting for the money?
I don't think he can, I don't think
So,
the office has that. I do have.
The question I asked was, where's the accounting for the donations coming in and the expenses going out in that account?
On page 1 of our budget paperwork, you have it on you.
The line item on our budget, page 1,
Police and fire.
shows no revenue coming in 19 or 20.
Right, exactly.
And so we removed the $1,000 that we had put in last year's budget from the proposed budget. So there's, as far as the books are concerned, there is no revenue from the K-9.
Madam President, two questions here.
Sure.
What, if any, is the cumulative overtime hours in the event you mentioned called out to other agencies or other states?
We don't go out if it's an agency assist.
Yeah.
We do not call out, and it's not overtime, never overtime.
Okay.
So if you're saying that he's called out to go to a instance for somewhere else, it is never overtime. We tell them that the dog is not available. The only time it would be overtime is if it were a search for a missing person or missing child here in the village if we call somebody out.
Okay, second question is, what would be the disposition of the dog, of the canine, in the event the trustees no longer support having a canine here in the community? What's gonna happen to Caesar, basically?
Yes, for the answer.
I mean, ultimately, he's trained. I mean, if you're asking who owns the dog, I mean, technically, he would be my dog, right? But, you know, I mean, I can't say enough again. I mean, he is fully certified and trained. And as the chief has said, the front end is where all the costs really had come from. And as far as the revenue is concerned, the forfeiture money is going through federal system right now. We should be receiving that fairly shortly, and it's quite substantial. Which is going to hopefully go towards.
That's not earmarked for the canine.
No,
It's not gonna wind up in the canine, but it's because of the canine. I understand that, but it just won't wind up in that line, so.
that's correct. It won't come in there, but it has to be used for police services, the forfeiture money.
Don't forget the vehicle as well.
Oh, yeah. And well, that's used for the canine, just canine specific. Is that what you're saying? Jake?
Well, we also don't have the money.
What we're saying is that the original request, I guess, was to replace the vehicle that's now the canine vehicle with a new one. And we didn't put that in the budget. So, you know, I think the trustees realize that having a canine requires a designated vehicle.
Right. I'll give you a second, Jonathan.
Well, we speak of federal money that's, you know, that asset forfeiture money, but we can't count on that. That's first off, we've been hearing that money's been coming for years and it still isn't here. And I don't think there's any guarantees that it is going to get here. It would be great if it did, but like Officer Chechi said, it's still in the works. It's in process. We don't have it. So we're not counting eggs before those chickens hatch.
Well, the money.
I'm not done yet, please. You know, there's an expense to having the dog, like Jig says, that goes beyond what I think we're willing to pay. And Officer Chechi spoke to other departments, you know, supporting this canine. Well, are they willing to financially support this canine? We have no accounting for any of the donations that have come in and how that money has been spent, as we've asked for. We have an expense into overtime, and I would disagree with Chief Bemis's assertion that the canine use is not all, you know, when it's outside the village is not overtime, because we've seen overtime hours billed for that for other services outside the village. I can see that Sergeant Chechi's questioning that, and you had a call out to Dummerson, which we paid overtime on. And that was about 4 months ago, maybe. So it is expensive, and it is there. There are real costs to it. So we should be cognizant to it, especially when it comes to a budget that we're looking at losing funding. I don't think a lot of people are also anticipating what's going to happen due to the COVID issue here and the loss in property taxes that's the state is anticipating. And the revenue stream, I mean, we could be looking, conservatively, we're looking at probably a loss in 20% of revenue in the interim until this gets sorted out. State coffers are going to be empty in about 60 days. Our town funds are going to take a hit without having money coming in. So we really need to pay attention to what we're doing and to the bottom line. Thank you.
Okay, so Jonathan, I'm gonna let, our chief
Yep.
on to you, and then I have Gaetano as well.
Well, there is a standing order, and there has been a standing order that Zafachecki is not to be called out on overtime with the dog for any other agency other than ourselves. That's a standing order. That's been that way, and that's the way it still is. The canine car is used by all the officers as well. It is not the first one that they will take, but I've driven the canine car, and the only basic difference between that and the other cruises is that you cannot put a prisoner behind you in the rear seat. So to say it's exclusively for the dog, it's the majority of it is for the dog, but other people can use the car and have used the car as I have used the car.
Is that it? Because we're not sitting around here again.
Yep.
Gaetano.
So Jonathan kind of answered it, and interim chief, chief or
Interim chief.
also answered it. So was Jonathan wrong in the Dummerston thing? It was a canine call overtime? Chief just said that didn't happen.
I can't.
Because it's a standing order. It's been
I certainly
in place.
can't answer that.
And then, so let's say, so if it's daytime, and so like the search in Westminster, if that happened when the canine officer was on duty, so you can do that when he's on duty and go to a different area. And then the answer is, how does that benefit the village? Is the town that we're sending the canine to, Walpole, or the ones you mentioned, do they reimburse the village expenses for that, and whether it be regular time or overtime? We're taking our services out of the village to provide for the community. I don't quite understand that. Whether it be overtime or regular time. It makes no difference.
It is important to keep in mind that we do have standing mutual aid agreements across the river also. So we have an obligation.
Referencing searching in Westminster.
No, I understand that.
Jeff, Chief wants to answer.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
With the dog searching, if we're thinking of the same incident that there was a high guilt incident, is that the one?
No, Westminster.
Well, there was an assault in Westminster, there was assault in Hyde Hill, and then there was.
Motor vehicle accident turned into a.
I'm not aware of that incident.
Oh, you're talking about the big one, when they had the accident right in Walpole and
Right.
went down here and had the
Oh,
two drug guys that were our people that ended up in Saxon's River.
yes. But as Stefan said,
Yes,
we did.
in a different state. My question is.
There were Vermont warrants out for that subject.
I
Arrested, and we were dealing with cases of our own involving those subjects. But yes, he came out, he was out, I believe, working that day, and yes, he did, the dog did go there. Did the search for that. But the mutual aid, very similar to the fire departments. When you have a major incident, any agency around here is going to need assistance from other agencies, whether it's the sheriffs, the state police, Walpole, and certainly us. When we need assistance with a major incident, we call them in, and it's just like a fire. If there's a 2-alarm fire, there will be departments from everywhere here in the village, or the village fire department will be there. And it's very similar with the police.
Deb, can we move the question?
Does anyone else have anything else to say? Just,
Can I ask a question
yes, Jonathan?
prior to moving? Can someone speak to the time, the average service time of a canine officer?
I'm sorry, the average what?
Lifespan, service time, useful span, work life, however you'd like to term it.
Okay, can you folks answer that?
It's usually 5 to 7 years.
How long has our canine officer been in?
He is 4 to 5 years right now.
Can you give me an answer? Is it 4?
4 to 5 years we've had Caesar.
You can't tell me exactly.
I don't have that date right here.
Officer Sergeant Chechi, can you speak to the date?
I mean, it's ultimately the end of 2015, is when he became certified to detect drug odors.
And how old was he then? Is that your year?
Yeah, but it's service life. I mean, he could be 2 years old and just getting certified and then working for another 5 to 7 years.
About 5 years.
Okay. And we don't have any plan to replace this officer, right?
We have no plans at this point to replace Caesar.
Okay.
We use him as long as we have him, but we have no plan, and certainly wouldn't plan that without the approval of the trustees.
All right, I'm all set.
All right, hearing nothing further, James,
Want to read the motion again, please?
No.
you want to say, repeat your motion, please, so we can have the answer, have them vote. What's your motion again, please?
The motion was to terminate the canine effective immediately.
Okay, so hearing the motion, having that in mind, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jonathan?
Nay.
Nay. Now we have to say our names, so.
Jonathan Wright, nay.
Never Wright, nay.
Carolyn Wright, aye.
So,
Jakes?
Yeah, aye.
It looks like the motion passes.
Say your name, Jigs. It's a voice vote.
Jim McAuliffe, aye.
Thank you. All right, so that's the motion, and it did pass. Moving on to the next motion, to the next action, review of proposed 2021 budget. Y'all have that?
Maybe I should say one.
I can let Wendy speak because she's there and it might be easier to hear her, but all of the proposed changes that you asked for were made. So the police department, and then I updated the water and sewer budget, but I will let Wendy walk you through it because it will be clearer with her there.
Did you see the memo that we got that Shannon did, the budget?
Gotta find it.
So taxes are reduced $267,321 or 16% over the previous year budget. The main way that happened was the reduction in the police department from 10 positions to 5. Staff is still recommending the 8 that we originally recommended, which was still a reduction.
Can I make a comment here?
What's that, John?
When did we have 10 police officers on the budget?
We've never had 10.
Like this year, there's 10 now.
Just
Yeah.
10 full-time?
Yeah, there's 10.
There's a slots for 10 people, but there are not 10 officers.
They're not 10 officers. We never
No.
hired
You, for the FY20 budget, 10 officers were approved.
Who approved that?
Yeah, that's not right.
It is.
that's not, no, definitely not.
That's not right.
Well, that's, when we said.
Anyway, we're moving forward.
But
We're
we
not
never proposed to hire 10, but
I
that's.
thought it was 9 with the chief. 9 officers. in
Yeah,
this-
sorry,
this
that's
budget.
right. That's right, 9 and the chief, so 10 officers altogether.
Right, and the dispatcher.
Dispatcher didn't count as an officer.
And so staff is still saying go to, as opposed to your 6 full-time officers, which is
Right.
what this is at,
Plus the chief.
go to 7 full-time officers plus the chief, 8 total.
What's the number?
So we took out the canine officer, the dog, so there's $5,000 in savings from that, that's from the overtime. Not purchasing a new police car, so overall reduction year over year for police is 226,000. And that's obviously the largest change in general fund. Now water fund, you looked at this already. Our revenue actually came in higher than what we budgeted.
Wendy, before you go out of the general fund,
Yes.
I don't believe we have a
Never mind.
place for 66 Atkinson Street. You took it out of the fire department, which you should have done. But
Right.
I believe we'd be naive not to have something in there in the other part of the budget.
Right, that was supposed to be put into the general part of the general fund.
Right.
Before we move out, another thing, before we move out of the general budget, I would like to propose that the trustees consider eliminating their stipend for this coming fiscal year. It's not a lot, it comes to $4,200, but it is, in its own way, as much as we can, a show of solidarity in that we understand that COVID-19 is going to have repercussions for months and months to come. That's my idea. I would like to do that. If anyone else wants to.
I'm sorry, Deb, was that, you said you'd like to remove the stipends? I just couldn't hear you.
I'm saying that, but I don't know what my other trustees want to do. I would clearly like to remove mine.
So can I just make one, could I just say one thing, Deb? Is that okay?
Yep.
So my recommendation would be for us to leave it in the budget because we don't want to present a false budget or a false tax rate just because of the COVID, but then not pay that. And so that would be my recommendation about how we go about the budget, just because we, moving forward, but that's just a thought.
I've gotten to that before the previous year and was told if it's there, we still gotta pay it. You can turn around and give it back to us, but tax will take it out of it and all that. This is some years ago. My concern is that we're still taxing the taxpayer for it. What's the point of leaving it in there in that case?
I think we should leave it in there. I agree with Shannon. We don't have to pay it, but I think we've got to look at a lot of things. For example, we've got a fairly large amount in there for Bells Falls downtown development, okay? We've got money in for the Chamber of Commerce. We've got a number of things in. We've got revenue in there for interest and penalties. I think if we start, now's not the time. The budget isn't the time to adopt or react and put in efficiencies based on the hand that we're dealt. I think we've got to play it out, and I think that I would agree if things are bleak. I wouldn't want to take payment, but I don't think we should artificially affect this budget. I think we should
forfeit during the course of the year.
Right.
I guess
and basically let's see what plays out here. I mean, we don't know. We just don't know.
Take belt tightening restrictions.
Well, we have water and sewer payments coming up here.
Yep.
On the 25th, and then you have taxes due on the 10th of May.
Yep.
So why don't we just take a breather, step back and observe how that goes, and then we'll have probably a pretty good indication of actions or other actions we may need to take.
Okay, well,
what I would say is that we should put something in for 66 Atkinson Street. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. And the water and sewer, I didn't have a problem, other than I think we should put 2% in as a placeholder for the wastewater salaries.
I did reduce that to 2% in this
It shows 0.
Back up, please. Go to the ordinance enforcement on page 3, has $1,500 in it. That would go towards something like 66 Atkinson, right? Would it not? Or ordinance enforcement?
It could conceivably, but I think we've been running a lot more than that, Deb, so.
We did, but not this fiscal year. We have liens and stuff like that. There's been some action by the attorney. I'm not sure if how much that come out to. I haven't seen that. But where would you put that? You want 66 Atkins Street. I'd like to get past that before we, don't skip over it. We're gonna do something with it. We need to do it now.
Deb, could I speak to that real quick?
Yep.
So my thought was not adding 66 Atkinson only because of the current situation. And, we will potentially be at a deficit or at least be short some potential revenue, and we're going to make accommodations for that. But my thought would be that we apply for help because we wouldn't have it in our budget because of the current situation.
Well, if building's not going to stand up by itself, it doesn't go.
Well, and the other thing is the town has the funds for the unsafe buildings.
Yeah, the town has a nuisance ordinance. Can I chime in? I would use ordinance enforcement for the 66 Atkinson as is necessary, because even if there's a grant, we'll need money to pay someone to apply for the grant. So I would leave that as it is, and just make a note that that's also for the old YMCA building.
Okay.
Now, Deb, Shannon, if you look on page 15.
Wait, you're jumping out of general.
Oh, okay, you're in the general. You're not going to put anything in for 66.
No. You also brought up on page 4, BFUHS, Bellas Falls Downtown Development Association. That agreement used to be $5,000 for like ever. And they've done a lot of additional things in the community. I don't believe we should drop that $7,500. They came to us in the select board to increase it because they can't function with these dollars that they have over the last several years. And the Downtown Development Association is how we can offer tax credits. If we don't help them survive, then they will not be here, and other businesses coming into Bellas Falls will not be able to benefit from tax credits.
I don't want to drop the amount.
Okay. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean then?
I'm just saying that you've got a lot of things in this budget that if things turn
sour,
really, then we're going to have to review it. We're not going to start July 1st paying the downtown business development money. I'll tell you that. We're gonna conserve until we can see light.
All right, that's all I want to be done with that.
Okay. Just one thing, if we're going to make a change to any line item, Deb, could you just have everybody, you don't have to do a formal vote, but could you just have everybody say aye so that I know that that's a formal change to be made?
Right, I get it. Okay, we'll do it. Stephanie, you had something.
What are we looking at Fact TV? What are we paying there?
We pay them, I don't know why it's up. It used to be $5,000.
No, wait, I don't think it was that high.
I'm sorry, 1,500.
Well, it's 1,800 now.
Yeah, but that's on page 4. Yeah, but in FY19 they only asked for 1,500. Have they collected 1,800 in FY20? Why did they raise it? Shannon, why did they raise it?
we pay for per meeting.
Right, but it's been $1,500 for some time, and they usually only turn in bills totaling $1,500. Why did you raise it $300?
Well, I think maybe we just been having more meetings.
Oh, maybe. Maybe, we might have some, we may have some conflict, like right now with that item. We'll talk about it.
And that, yeah, and that item, we can pick and choose actually, you know, how many we have them attend too, because it's not required.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. I mean, we've made good use of back TV, have appreciated them in the past. I wouldn't say that right now, but, okay, we move on to the fire department and police. We're good there then, is that correct, gentlemen?
I am.
I got nothing from Gary or, Gaetano, yes?
What was the new PD?
What's the new size of the PD now?
6 officers plus the chief.
What is it now, budgeted for? All over on that.
It was budgeted before, it was
9
plus.
full-time plus the chief.
Yeah.
Right now we have what?
Never mind.
5,
9
6.
to 6.
Yeah.
The main thing about the police budget is that we've got to, introduce a residency requirement for the police department. We can't have all of our officers that live 15, 20, 30 minutes away from Bellas Falls.
Okay, but that has got to do with the budget line, it has to do with.
No, it has nothing to do with the numbers, no.
Okay, yes. That's it. Okay, let's see. So we now can we move out of the general fund? Are we done with general fund?
And again, please specify the page.
Okay, so we.
Deb, could you just verify you guys actually made no changes then?
Changes, that's right.
Okay.
And I hope we're not mumbling. All right, so then we get down to there, and now we're in water. All right, and Ralph is here for wastewater. Okay, so in water, all right, that's the revenue, and then I'm concerned here on page 10 because it says 2% per union contract, a step for each employee. We don't use steps anymore. So that sounds like 2% plus a step. Is that what you're trying to infer, Shannon?
Hold on, I'm just pulling.
Page 10.
Well, for one, that language shouldn't be in there.
Nope, shouldn't say it at all.
It shouldn't be discussed in that.
That's in the CBA.
Format.
It's not something we put in here.
So,
Yeah, no, the total.
so all I have in here, if you look over at column N, is a 2%.
Sorry, what column? The last column.
Column N is a 2% increase.
I see.
And,
Okay, we don't have alphabet over our columns, just so you know.
oh, okay. I'm sorry. So if you look in the difference between FY21 and FY20 proposed budgets, all we're doing is a 2% increase, and that's just typically what's been union contract. It's just a placeholder, not that there might not be any increases. But however, our chief operator feels like we're over budgeting for overtime. So I've reduced that. That's why ultimately you see a 5% reduction in the personnel and water, is because we're significantly reducing overtime.
Could you possibly take out the words "a step" because?
Yeah, this won't be seen at all in the village budget, nor will it be seen in the report, but I'll remove that right now.
That's the only thing you want to change it. Anything else in the water department? Jigs, John?
I'm okay.
I'm all set.
let's move on to revenues.
That's what I say on page 15. Well, the first thing on the sewer department is, you know, on the septage and the sludge removal.
15.
The looking from the budget to budget, we show a 10% increase in revenue and a 100% increase in the cost of the residual.
Yeah.
I think that the issue isn't to change the budget here. I think it's to basically say, you know, we need to charge more if we can't manage that cost.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what we are intending to do is we're trying to propose a budget that is not overestimating revenue or underestimating expenses. So worst case scenario, however, Rob is being extremely diligent, looking at other options that we want to present to the board in the near future. Right now, we're, you know, at a standstill for looking at stuff like that currently, but that's exactly what we want to do. We want to figure out a better system, increase revenue, or at least have the revenue cover the expenses, but would like to leave it in the budget as such, just so it is the worst case scenario, especially given this is an enterprise fund and we're not raising taxes to cover the expenses.
Right.
But
I agree with you, Shannon.
okay, great.
Okay, down in the middle of the page under wastewater personnel.
It shows 0.
So that's because we were over, in my estimation for actual for FY20, we overestimated the FY20 budget. So I feel like with a 2% increase, we will still land at approximately 156.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm just trying to bring us back to reality because I don't feel like we're going to come in at 155 for this year.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. What is the pump station personnel, Shannon?
So we have 3 hours twice a week with one person who goes to the pump stations. And so it's the same guys, and the salaries are just distributed over each line item. So they are allocated to Saxon's River, the pump stations, lines and mapping. And so each week they have a certain amount of hours that they spend at each, and we break that out. I don't know if it's useful for you guys. It's a lot of work on our end. We do need to break out the Saxon's River, I feel like, but the pump station and lines we could probably do without. And it's pretty insignificant, and it's part of their regular work. It's just, it's getting detailed to specifically what they're allocating their time to.
All right.
Well, in the water department, we did not increase more than the staff more than 2%. Here we see a 2%, 2.5% increase on top of the 2%.
No, it's not.
No, the memo wasn't updated. We're actually, so I think.
Is that correct? 2% is what it should say?
Yes. Well, that would be if we gave them 2% increases, we should land at the 156. I'm just estimating that we over budgeted for FY20 and that we're going to come in roughly around 153 for FY20. So with a 2% increase, we're really going to be where we budgeted for FY20. And
okay, so the language just wasn't changed.
Yeah, I'll change that. Yep.
And that's why that says 0. Okay. Anything else in the wastewater department? Did anyone have any questions since he's here 12 months?
Sure.
The Saffron plant up and running good, any issues?
This is just like any new plant, we're going through growing pains with learning how to operate the equipment, bringing out the bugs and all that, but for the most part, it's running really nice. Obviously, the school's shutting down early, put us in the summer mode a lot quicker than normal, but, because that typically what happens is the flow will drop off in summertime.
Yeah.
Discharge dropped off now because everybody's schools all shut down, so. But yeah, for the most part, there's been a few things that we've had to send back and get fixed, but it's just no different than what we did at our plant. It's all brand new, but
Right.
it's old, it'll break. It's 24/7, so,
Not too fast.
you know.
Okay, so I think, so that looks like you got, Jigs and Jonathan, you all set with the wastewater?
The, on page 16, in the middle of the page, there's $10,000 for consulting. And
Oh, yeah.
I have faith in that Shannon can run numbers. I don't know what we would need a consultant.
What we'd like to do is, we would like to have consulting for the sludge disposal options. So we'd like to figure out what we can do, how we can do it, and if that entails, but Rob can actually, I didn't realize Rob was there. Rob could actually speak to this better than I could, in why we put that into this year's budget.
Okay, Rob.
So in looking at that, as like Shannon said, we want to come up with different options for our sludge disposal. So if you need a different piece of equipment and it costs money, you got to engineer it, you got to study it, it's got to go through a whole process to get money from the state as a grant or a loan to put in that piece. Like we are looking at a dryer similar to one Brad was testing right now, the dryer sludge, but we don't know if that's the right option. We got to do something with our sludge because our contracts are up and it's going to cost us X amount of money to go to do this. I don't know what this is yet because it's still new. The whole thing of drying the sludge out and then where do you take it? Where does it go? Who's going to accept it? It's a evolving thing right now.
Who's gonna take it away?
Who's going to take it away? That's right. How are we going to take it away? You know, if we can turn it into Class A and dry it, we can give it away. But is that people going to take it?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You may be able to dry it, reduce your volume, but you still got to haul it away.
You have a market.
Yeah, do you have a market for people to take it? No, so.
And I just want to add to that, given the current climate and the pandemic, if this is not a year to have a consultation, then we absolutely wouldn't be spending any unnecessary funds. However, if this was something that would help us reduce our expenses or increase revenue, then of course we would proceed. But we would, talk to the board about it first, but just wanted to have it in the budget in the event that we could move forward.
This might be a more logical conversation in the second half of 2020, of the fiscal year, as opposed to the rest of this year. But, yeah. Okay. I don't have an issue with it.
No, I don't have an issue with it. I think it should stay in there.
Okay, anything else? Devin? Anything else, Jigs?
Nope.
Anything else, Jonathan?
Nope.
We've had that conversation. And apparently we've made no additional changes.
You, Shannon, you do, on page 17, that there should be a total.
Okay, I can send you an updated version.
Okay.
We're also missing. Did you ever figure that out, Shannon?
Yeah, it was just in the printing. But
we're missing a section after the debt services.
Yeah.
Contracts, vehicle replacement, contract.
Yeah, and I have that on mine, so, and And we're not approving these budgets now, so I'll send that right after the
Yeah.
meeting.
Can I just bring something up? Just look at debt services on page 17.
Yeah.
This is an example of the type of expense that, normally is programmed very exactly. But the state bond bank has said that municipalities can postpone payments to September of 2021. So, we're trying to determine which of these payments would be in that category. So you can see they're pretty significant, 701,000. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about debt payments. Just one point.
So I'm not sure if that's, it's good, so it puts a Band-Aid on.
Right.
$700,000
Gotta pay it at some point.
But it, of course, and this budget allows for the payment, but for cash flow purposes, it's very, it could be incredibly helpful. We certainly don't want a budget to not pay.
We're not gonna need this, but
That'll be what considered when we look at number 6.
Correct, that's why I wanted to point it out.
Between water and wastewater, we have about $800,000 that the bond bank has pushed out right now till May of 2021 without accruing interest. And so we have a lot of flexibility in the water and wastewater budgets as far as that's concerned.
But again, I wouldn't mess with the budget.
No, absolutely not. I agree. I don't want to.
I wasn't proposing that at all, I just wanted to point it out since we're on that page.
No, that's
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, John.
Does those bond payments that we're discussing, does that include the $500,000 for Pine Street in the repayment projections?
Probably, but we aren't paying those yet. But
Okay.
But so those bond payments, how that was all worked out was we got a total amount for our bonds, and we're actually making the same payments that we will, whether we use all the money or not. It comes off in the back end. So yes, those bond payments will be extended, but the dollar figure you see right now will not change because of the work on Pine Street. That was estimated in there.
That was one to know, John.
Yeah, well, I thought we were also going to have Pine Street on this agenda, but
it's tangentially included in number 5.
okay.
So now we will move to number 5, which is purchasing policy discussion, non-essential purchases going forward.
Don't we have to approve this budget?
Not if we postpone the annual meeting. As secretary.
Well, we haven't even discussed that. Are we going to be able to come back to this budget to approve it if we decide not to postpone?
If it's approved, if you're good with it, regardless, I think of what you do with the meeting, we should get it
Right.
ready so we can do the village report. That would be my want.
That would be that was my position as well. No matter what, moving forward, we need to approve a budget.
So make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the budget for fiscal year 2021 as proposed by the finance director from the spreadsheet labeled dated 4/19/2020.
Need a second?
Could you,
You want me to give you a number?
would you amend that, Jonathan, to be a finalized copy would be sent out to the board?
Yes, I would like to make that amendment as well. Do you want me to put the dollar value in there?
I like to, but we don't have a total on yet.
True.
On the general fund, you do.
Just on the general fund.
Right, that's what you really need to.
Okay, so
That's all you're approving is the general fund, because the water and wastewater funds are a whole different.
Okay, so you have that dollar amount, John, on page.
So to approve the general fund, let's amend it again to approve the budget for the general fund of $1,510,548.
seconded.
Do you have to state how much will be raised by taxes?
Isn't that the dollar value to be raised by taxes?
No,
No, we would say that about when we approve the warning, I think that's what.
Oh.
So we can do that part, we do the warning.
All right. To the amount raised by taxes to be $1,444,099.
That is what's in the warning.
That's what's okay. All right, so we had a second, we seconded that. Jigs? Oh, Stefan just seconded. Is there any further discussion on this matter? All right, all those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And John, Jigs said aye. Okay, so we have a group, so that's.
Can you just repeat the raised by taxes figure?
Oh,
$1,444,099.
Did you get that, Kathleen?
Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving on to number 5. Purchasing policy discussion, non-essential services going forward. All right, so this is on here because of COVID-19 essentially, that we want to make sure that we are doing as much belt tightening as possible. The current purchasing policy we don't have in front of us, although I think we're all pretty much aware of what it is. So discussion on that, Matt. Stefan?
Well, I've talked about it for quite a while here. I'm more comfortable with a lower or a lesser amount. And I know it's come up for discussion here in the past, but never been acted upon. So I guess it's here now. Let's take a look and discuss it.
We do realize that lowering the amount would cause, if a purchasing policy would cause additional meetings for. Yeah, I'm just, simply you don't want to do that if you dropped it below $10,000. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan, do you have anything? Jake, do you have anything?
I guess I was confused about the purchasing policy. I guess this is the purchasing policy for the village manager. Okay. I was hoping this was going to be the purchasing policy for the village in reference to purchase orders. Which
What about, can we even use orders? I thought they were going to start that, but I don't think you're there yet, are you?
No, we thought about using purchase orders, and that is a really management decision. I like purchase orders. Most of the staff does not. So, in return, they have provided.
Okay. I thought that we were discussing the policy for purchase orders. I didn't know that we were discussing the policy for purchase, outright purchase. The village manager had the authority to the dollar value. Okay.
I don't know, I think that's pretty broad. I think we could include that. I don't see where it would be prohibited.
James, did you have anything on this one?
I don't have any strong, strong feelings. I've been comfortable with the amount. So I don't have any real issues. I know Stefan, this is a hot topic for Stefan, but I don't have a big issue. So.
I'll chime in. I also like the idea of purchase orders.
Noted.
But purchase orders really pertain more to department heads than they do to the manager.
Well, regardless, I think it's a better way for accountability.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Well, what I like about purchase orders is that you set the money aside, you encumber the funds. We don't have an encumbrance process right now.
Right.
So that in theory, you can have multiple purchases going in parallel that are looking at the same money. Right. That doesn't happen, or at least it hasn't.
Yeah,
That I know of.
purchase policies that you can tie up.
Right, but that's the point, is if you've made a commitment to make a purchase, that the money should be tied up, so that when the bill comes due, you have it.
Right. I like the idea of having a tangible document, something to look at that says we've allotted or will allot for whatever the purchase may be.
Yeah, but if I could speak to what we have done, and I sent you, I'm sorry, I just finished it today, just analysis of just COVID time financials, because it's really difficult to predict. It's in fact impossible to predict what's going to happen. But at the very beginning of this, we started carefully looking at purchases and carefully looking at payments. We typically have between $3 and $7 million cash. That's one of the most important things, is to conserve cash in case there is a shortfall in payments. Until very recently, it was unheard of that we could change the tax rate, because that's always just been a mathematical calculation that's dictated by the state. But now the state is actually looking at allowing municipalities to set a lower tax rate as a form of tax relief. But if the village and or town are interested in that, it would be down the road, and we would have a much better idea of what's going to happen. Like Stefan was saying, you know, we have payments coming due. Again, both village and town are fortunate to have utilities as such a portion of the tax base. Because even if the utilities have financial troubles, there's no way they're going to let their property be potentially subject to tax sale. So Gray River Hydro pays 39% of the village taxes. So we're very fortunate to have that as our number one customer, shall we say.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you, but are you sure on the, because I've been quoted a different amount other than 39%.
Of the village?
Yeah.
That's what it was most recently. The number that we had for the town in the first version of the report was not accurate. It included school taxes. Okay. Actually, which is another change the state is looking at. The towns are asking that the state pay the portion of the taxes that we collect for the schools.
All right, can we call point of order on this one? We're way off topic.
Well, it's just about managing our money.
Part of my objective, Jonathan, was to make sure that since this COVID thing started, that we keep tabs. I believe Wendy's been doing really good. So what we're spending, is that way, whether it's FEMA or whoever, we can apply for reimbursement at some point in the future.
When that's available, yeah.
Right.
Right, I've been doing that, and then we're also looking at recovery. Like just for example, we put out bids for paving, and we structured the language so that if the town wants to add to the contract, like say the town wants to do additional roads, and say contractors are hungry, so they might be giving us good prices, you can actually expand what you do next summer, just completely at the town's option. But we have been thinking about things like that all along, so that we can help local contractors too. Because often the folks who win the bids are the local contractors. So we're trying to pay attention to everything and stay abreast, but seriously, things are changing daily. And so I wrote up a document for you guys. I sent it to the trustees.
Oh, you sent it.
But it's for both the trustees and the select board on where we are now.
Are those local copies just one?
It's just one page front and back. It does discuss further too. Where we are.
As well.
I got it at the end of the day.
So, and this is.
Okay.
So do we, so I want to get back to first the topic is, do we want to actually alter the purchasing policy, or just look at the fact that we want, like Mando, stay on top of not spending money on non-essential items?
I'm trying to remember the last thing that came in over 10,000. Shannon, do you remember the last thing that was between 10 and 14 that I did? They're very.
Well, but if you'd like, I can speak to what we're doing currently to reserve cash, and also as far as spending goes. I would think that a utility contract is probably the last thing that we did that came close to that, but probably did not exceed the 10,000. Is that right, Wendy?
That sounds right. And plus, they don't, yeah, we don't even get bids on utility stuff.
But really, we bring everything to the board regardless of whether it's above or under that limit.
Yeah. Actually, let me add to that, the water system. I sent that to all of the trustees. There's a permit that's up for $900. Now, typically, if that was, we were in normal times, you've already approved the project, that's part of the budget, I would just proceed. But because we're in COVID time, I don't just proceed, and I wanted to touch base with the trustees and see if anybody had an issue with it. And if you had an issue, I would bring it to a meeting. It can come to another meeting if you guys do have an issue with it. It's not on the agenda.
In the same respect, I think I would say, I would have no objection to lowering the limit. In one hand, if I was just going to play devil's advocate, the only thing that I could say is that it could potentially increase your amount of meetings. You know, and so that's, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with lowering the limit. But then there's the issue of you guys having to approve something off the cusp that comes up. You know, like we need to renew our printer contract and something like that.
You know, since we're on this topic, we get this document.
Yeah, what is this from? Just now, what is it?
It's from Develop Today.
Yeah, but I've been trying to get you information on what we're doing. And that is the most updated information that I have.
And we're talking about staffing and stuff. I know, because I've read a little bit that your other position there, you're dealing with some stuff.
Oh, yeah, school level.
But one thing I haven't noticed is anything from the library.
That's all town, and you guys talk about it next week.
I realize that.
Yeah, and they have their own board, and their own budget. We give them the amount that, you know, is proposed and approved at town meeting, but they have their own board. I don't think we have any governance over them.
I'm not saying that. I fully understand that. What I see here is both boards, the management and administrative, all doing their part. I was just wondering if anybody over at the library board is doing anything.
I have not heard anything, and it looks as though they're actually working significantly to help with schooling and getting people books, and they're actually in there and filling all of their hours and contributing to the community.
At the library.
Well, anyway, what about this budget? What about this line item? Is there a motion, or are we going to move on to the next one?
It looks at this point that we're going to move on to the next item. It was brought up just to we covered the point that we want to be careful about expenditures, and we have a report here to read. You've got that one.
Before we move on, can I ask? I mean, there's an email that sent out about the Pine Street work, and that was going to be discussed under 5 purchase policy discussion. Part of it is the $900 for the permit application, which would fall under that. The other part of it is the expansion of the project, $100,000 beyond what we authorized, which we haven't even discussed.
We haven't, and that means that we can't go forward on that until we have a full discussion. That's not going to be this meeting, but it's not.
Right.
So we'll have to go to the next agenda.
Okay.
Right. We started that conversation, or at least I found out some of that information after this agenda was done. And it's just like,
so we definitely want the Pine Street issue on the next agenda. But Kathleen, if you're taking notes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So let us move on to number 6 then, which is consideration of postponing the annual meeting and election. Secretary of State is highly recommending this change because at this point the governor's stay at home is only until May 15th. 4 days later would only be our annual meeting, and then the following day the elections. I for one would not want to expose our polling workers and the staff that do our annual meeting to COVID-19, nor to the public who come to the meeting in the Opera House or Sonic Temple as well. Asked about what would be like if we did ballots for everything and everything went on an Australian ballot, and we're looking at the additional expenses of mailing out all the ballots and figuring out where they would receive those ballots. I know that the national elections are being paid for by state, I guess, or the feds, so that is covered. But in our case, I would simply prefer to basically defer it and expect to do it, say, in June, and we will talk about that. We will talk about setting all that up in our first meeting in May. Or are we having it?
No, I think May you would have.
So we would have everything in May.
Delayed as it is now.
So you want to delay it
So
1 month?
basically looking at delaying the annual meeting and election day 1 month.
That sounds good.
Well, how does that affect us in reference to legality of the boards?
The board stays the same. Nothing changes until the next election, which will be we'll say in June sometime.
How does that affect length of term?
It does.
Yeah, because our terms expire on a certain day. It doesn't expire on the election.
Yes, but they've been extended according to the Secretary of State until the next election can be reasonably had.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what he did.
that was confusing to me in the HR 68.
And it is, because it's a weird extenuating circumstance that we've been in our same seats for a month beyond normal. I mean, we could go longer than that, but I think safely we'll probably be fine sometime by the end of June. The same thing, Saxon River did theirs, their meeting till the end of June.
Are you talking middle of June, or are you looking at?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we could, at the beginning of our first meeting in May, we can make that determination if we want to do it a month from that date, or if we want to move to the end. We'll know better as time progresses and the governor makes more determinations if May 15th is the last time he's going to move that stay-at-home date.
Right, and the Secretary of State has lots of new powers to waive statutory provisions or charter provisions.
And it's odd, and for instance, the date for submitting petitions for elected seats is done. That was yesterday, 5 o'clock. Looks like I'm not going anywhere anyway. So Gary, how do you feel about postponing it for like a month?
I have no problem with that.
7?
Postponing a month?
Yep.
I have a problem with a month.
Jake, you okay with that?
I am.
Are we going to make a motion?
I do not believe so. We just don't set the date. We're not going to sign a warning. We're not going to do any of that stuff.
I think it'd be better.
Oh, okay. Well, Wednesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would like a motion.
Okay,
If-
that should make it.
Either that, Jonathan, or I can.
You're cutting in and out. I can't hear you.
Do you want to make the motion, John?
No, but I'm on the fence about moving it or not personally. And, but if we are going to move it, I want it done under a motion.
Okay, so Steph, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we postpone the annual village meeting and elections for 1 month till May 15th,
June 15th.
to June 15th.
I said June 19th.
June
So I have to
19th.
actually wait, hold on a second. Let's look at the calendar.
Yeah, you should look.
Let's make sure that it's a Monday and Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The 15th is a Monday.
Okay, so the 15th,
June,
15th and 16th.
June 15th and 16th. 15th for the annual meeting and 16th for annual Australia ballot.
And elections, okay. All right, need a second for that. to
I'll
discuss.
second it.
Okay, so discussion, further discussion, John?
No, I just wanted it done under a motion and not done out, outside of a formal agreement.
Do you have anything up here?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay, so hearing the motion of postponement until June 15th and 16th, 2020 for the annual village election, annual village meeting and the elections. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so we have moved it out. So we are done with our regular agenda. We are on to any other business in the year of plague. This being, I don't know which day this is.
Deb,
Yes.
I'm gonna make a motion and see what the board thinks. But is that okay?
If you do, and we agree, we will have to ratify it next month, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, the motion I'd like to make is that I want to move to authorize the village president to work directly with the manager and parenthetically, hopefully with the select board, to number one, immediately reduce non-essential staff and expenses. And number two, to prepare a draft report to taxpayers, providing them some guidance with regards to what to expect over the next month or two.
Need a second to that.
Can I ask a question before we second? Or do we need the second to go in?
First, I discuss it.
I'll second it for discussion.
What's the draft that we're talking about over the next couple of months? That's a pretty vague term.
Well, I think Jonathan, what I've got in mind is, we've got, I guess, monthly utility bill payments. We have our tax payment due in May and then again in August. I think clearly, I don't think we're in any position to tell people that they don't have to pay those bills, but I think certainly we need to work out a plan. For example, that let's say we will not charge interest or penalties on late payments, that type of thing.
So there's some, we'll all have to work together because there are some things we can do and some things we can't.
Right. And but what I'm saying is, somebody needs to be thinking that through. And I think that, we don't want to, I don't want to do it by committee. I think I'm happy to have Deb working with the manager and her staff to start addressing these issues so that the boards can review them,
There is some discussion, according to when I tuned into Vermont Public Radio the other day, there's some discussion in Montpelier about talking about exactly, forgiving interest or penalties or extending them out, some criteria, which I don't have time to listen to the radio all day to work, but if there's some update from our legislative representatives, exactly like what you're talking about too, that I think would be very beneficial, not only to us, but people in the community.
Yeah, the people need to, we need to share some things that we can with the community.
So I do want to just say, and this is amazing for Bellows Falls, but if we look at our delinquency rate this time this year compared to last year, which Pam, thank you so much, has done, we are not yet in any deficit compared to where we were. So just saying, and actually utilities are above where they normally are. So.
Yeah, knock on wood. And I have to say myself that some of these things that you're talking about, James, have already been started. That management has already started working on those things. More things will come down the pipe, and probably you're right. More materials to be available to the taxpayers wouldn't be a bad thing to make them feel, to reassure them that we're trying to do what we can to help them. I think that's quite important.
Right. And of course, the other part is, I'm concerned that we haven't moved quicker on expense reductions and the like. So I want to accelerate that.
So I can speak to a little bit as far as spending goes. There is absolutely no non-essential spending whatsoever. We did pre-buy on expenses as far as supplies for water and wastewater. We also chemicals, things like that, in case we couldn't get orders in. But the department heads, as far as the village goes, so police, fire, water, wastewater, are all very cognizant of spending, and we will discuss it coming up, but we have already started furloughs. So
Well, that's, I think that I'm glad you're starting. My feeling is we're weeks late in addressing that. So I just want to emphasize the urgency and take away the bureaucracy so that the manager working with our president can get these things done.
So any further discussion on this motion? Jonathan?
I'm all set.
I have a question.
Yes.
Comment.
Yes. That's on.
So they haven't seen this new sheet that we just received.
Select board has.
I saw it.
When did you email? Okay, you did?
Pretty late today.
Oh, pretty late, so it's out there.
That would help answer some
of the questions. Okay, so I guess I hope we all understand the motion. Hey, Kathleen, could you possibly reread the motion? Did you write it down?
I did. What I have is Jiggs wanted to make a motion to authorize the village president to work with the manager and select board to reduce non-essential staff and expenses and make a draft report of expenses to see where else they can cut.
A draft report to taxpayers. Taxpayers in terms of what they can expect over the next couple of months.
Yeah, I just need to, so like a flyer. Oh, yeah, yes, no, I love the idea.
Okay, before we move it, go ahead.
I think it's a great idea to communicate more, and I would like to communicate more. It's just hard to find the time, but that's certainly something.
Okay.
But as far as authorizing elected officials to reduce staff, we just need to be careful of our.
No, it's to authorize the village president to work with you, not to.
Yeah.
Not,
that's clear.
Yeah. Okay. No, it doesn't give the village president the authority to do that. So.
Okay, so having the motion in mind, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Does pass. Okay. All right. Thank you,
The
gentlemen.
motion said select
One more
board.
job.
Yeah, select board, yeah.
So it's village president.
But the select board, yeah, well, he can't control the select board. You're not.
Okay.
So you have to take that up. That would be something to bring up next week.
Then with the motion at the chair maybe, or?
Yeah, next week. That brings us down to the last we do have one more executive session to discuss pending or probable litigation. Steph, that would be.
I have another business before we go to that.
You do, yes, other business, I'm sorry.
We do have an attorney waiting.
Yeah, we have an attorney waiting, so other
Just a
business
quick
here.
question.
Other business.
Reason why we didn't get fire reports, overtime, comp reports in our packet?
Yeah, we've just been scrambling to get anything done, honestly. It's just been, the COVID has just caused all sorts of increased activity. Shannon, if you want to speak to that, just why the overtime reports, and what I was thinking, Devin and I were talking earlier, if we can get those reports to them in advance of the next meeting, I think that would be great.
absolutely. I'm working on those things right now, and I'm trying to get them out. I just furloughs have taken priority, COVID, all of that, but I'm going to get them to you guys as soon as I can.
Thank you. Good.
I'm good.
Steph, do you have anything else? other business?
No, we're good.
Okay, Jake's, any other business?
No,
John? Any other business before we go with this last executive session?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, since you've been making all the motions, this was, what is that?
Thank you, Rob.
Pending.
Yeah, have a good night.
This
This one.
16
Number 11.
days from date of-
Number 11 again?
Yeah,
Okay, and who am I inviting
and
in?
your, and this is just, the, yes, the attorney Brian Monahan and Wendy.
Yeah, and Shannon.
And Shannon, that's it. Okay, that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna make the motion that we enter into an executive
Next
session
time.
to discuss pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body is or may be a party, and where we clearly place the municipality at a substantial disadvantage, and invite into that executive session the attorney Brian Monahan, the municipal manager Wendy Harrison,
Right.
and finance director Shannon Berger.
Okay, need a second?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Second motion.
Second motion, I move that the board enter into an executive session to discuss pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution to which the public body may be a party under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes, and to invite in the municipal manager, finance director, and the attorney.
Need a second?
Second?
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Executive session now.